The God comp is finally getting some nerfs, but for now, servers are down. My name is Swag, and this is the Vault Day Update. If you have been running keys at all this season, you have probably heard tell of what is the God comp. It is a meta right now for Mythic keys that is probably the most broken we have ever seen key compositions before. What is it? It is a bear tank, mage, shadow priest, augmentation evoker, and a holy paladin. I wanted to give it a shot for myself to see if it's truly as broken as people say, and so I rolled a bear tank. I love tanking. My main is a blood DK, although I have quite a few tanks. It's what I do. I love the tank. So I jumped in there expecting to have some trouble with a brand new tank right there, and no, I actually instantly got into plus 10s at 380 eye level and no issue at all. It was kind of weird, kind of broken, kind of fun, but obviously too much. And every part of this meta is exactly that way. It's an entirely broken meta, the worst we have ever seen in Mythic keys before. And so it's no surprise that Blizzard is nerfing it. They're hitting it with some big nerfs, although I actually think they're nerfing it the wrong way, and this might be worse than it is good. The main chunk of the nerfs coming to the meta right now are related to damage. Holy Paladin is seeing some healing nerfs as well, but the majority of its damage decreases to all 5 of them. But the issue that we're running into here is that what makes the God comp so good is actually not their damage output. They all have good damage, don't get me wrong. They're fantastic damage dealers. But what makes them absolutely necessary for running the highest keys is not their damage, but rather all of the utility that they bring to their groups. For example, bear tanks cannot die once they get a few stacks of iron for going. It's just impossible. You're not going to kill one. Also, Shadow Priests have Mind Soothe, and they also have Mass Dispel, both of which are pretty much necessary in order to time high keys and skip some mobs, as well as dealing with all of those debuffs that are constantly going out. Mages also bring Dispels with them and other utility. Augmentation Evokers obviously are just massive. They're doing great damage, but on top of that, they're also causing their tanks to be more tanky and their healers to heal even bigger. It's just a wild composition right now, and there really is no way to beat it. And so Blizzard hit it with a bunch of nerfs to their damage output. However, again, that's not going to fix the issue if the issue was never damaged to begin with. If Blizzard really wants to fix this comp, they're going to have to do a few things, one of which is decrease the amount of dispels necessary in dungeons. Right now, it's crazy, and only Shadow Priests can keep up with it. I mean, if you have like a Holy or Disciplined Priest in your group, sure, but now you don't have the insane output of a Holy Paladin and the utility that a Holy Paladin brings to the group. And as mentioned earlier, priests are also bringing Mind Soothe to the group, which now means that you can Mind Soothe some of the mobs, like the Gauntlet of Dragons in Halls of Infusion. You can skip that entire run right there using Mind Soothe because they're all dragon kin. Now, you could not sneak past them though with a rogue because they all have True Sight. So Blizzard is trying to minimize the creativity of groups getting through dungeons, and all it's doing is actually locking us in where we could have maybe used a rogue or a priest. Now you can only use a priest to get past that pack. This is causing some problems and is locking us in, and that's really the issue. Blizzard is causing these scenarios where really only specific classes can handle them and work through them. Augmentation Evokers are the only reason that healing does not suck right now. If you have an Aug in your group, it feels great. If you do not have an Aug in your group, your healer is going to hate it. It's a lot harder. Everybody's taking more damage. There's less healing going out. It's a miserable experience. So if Blizzard wants to fix the God comp, they have to do 2 things. 1, bring everyone else up to match. Don't bring the comp down, because otherwise right now, the top runs will have to be the top runs for the rest of the season, because now everything is nerfed. So you can't actually compete at the same level that the top competitors were competing at prior. So instead of bringing it down, bring everyone else up to match and then ease the restrictions in dungeons. I do believe this meta will go down as a pretty big stain in people's impressions of Dragonflight. It kind of stinks because it's otherwise been a great expansion, but people are going to remember that Season 2 was a crappy season to play the game. And speaking of the game having too many debuffs right now that got to be dispelled and causing issues in Mythic Plus, this week's affixes are Fortified, Afflicted, and Raging. If you want to handle Afflicted, guess what? You got to dispel even more. When Afflicted spawn, you're going to have to dispel them or heal them to full, although dispelling tends to be the fastest way, and it's the easiest way for your teammates, your non-healers, to also help handle this affix. Please do not let this just become a healer-only affix. You're going to cause so many problems and upset your healers. Now, raging, on the other hand, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. When your enemies get down to 30% health, not counting bosses, of course, when your non-boss enemies get down to 30% health, they will enrage, and they are immune to CCs when that happens. Best thing you can do is to pull smaller and burn individually. Chain pulling can be a great way to keep it so that there's never a large amount of mobs with below 30% health, but you still have a good chunk of mobs that you're working with at any given time. A lot of AoE going out without having to handle maybe 7 mobs, 8 mobs, 10 mobs that are buffed up from raging. So be cautious, be careful, but it is manageable. Have you ever just thought to yourself, man, I cannot figure out which of my 14 friends I want to have be a part of my arena team? Well, no more worries, because this week's PvP Brawl is packed house. It's basically a 15v15 arena match, and it's chaotic and just as fun as it sounds. If you want something a bit more relaxing to work on, this week's bonus event is World Quest. So if you travel around the world and complete World Quest, you will earn extra reputation. I did not see if it's going to apply to the Loam Niffin yet. In the past, it did not. However, some time has passed, so that could have changed. Test it out, let me know in the comments. And if you want to earn even more reputation or a little bit of experience as well, the Dark Moon Fair is here this week, so you can earn 10% extra reputation and experience when you ride on one of the rides at the Dark Moon Fair, or go play some games, win some prizes. And lastly, if you're looking for a group of friends to play with, let me recommend my Discord server. We've got WoW players joining every single day who are looking for other friends, looking for people to do content with, and a lot of which are newer to the game and looking for people to grow with. So there's a link down below. I encourage you to join. I'm in there myself, obviously, and I always love to talk about the game. Hopefully servers are back up. My name is Swag, and this has been the Vault Day Update.